What is up? Welcome to the Next Guy Up podcast. Today, we have football in the NFL and college. So we have a very exciting episode. Today is the official NFL kickoff episode. So Mason is back in his bag with the NFL guy. I know he's been here with us in spirit for college, but we all know where his heart lies. We all know his true passion is the NFL. So Mason, we are excited to hear some taking us to fantasy land. Probably not actually, but just the NFL land today. We had a pretty fun episode today. We're going to look at some week 2 college games, and we are going to preview some week 1 NFL matchups and some games. We're going to talk some betting, give out our favorite bets of the week, and Tins has got another segment about some food for football season.
Got a little blind ranking for Mason and Zach to do today, so cannot wait to throw this one at him.
Love it. So I have a little game I think we can just play to warm up today. It's one of our favorites. It's kind of a thought experiment of how far would you go to guarantee your team a championship in a given season? And so I made a list here. We did this a little bit last season. We had a lot of fun with it. And this is kind of a go-to conversation in some of our friend groups. And so let's start here. This got me started thinking about it a little bit. Let's say that someone approaches you on the street and says, I have this amount of money in this bag. I can give it to you now. Or if you decline it, your team will be guaranteed to win the championship this year. Okay, so let's do a couple of dollar amounts. Let's start off with $1,000. He has it in a bag, cash. Here's $1,000. Would you take it, or would you decline it for your team? No deal, and your team wins a championship.
It's a no deal.
Decline.
Very quick.
Okay.
Decline,
what
Bob.
About $5,000?
Yeah, no deal.
Decline. Yeah, no deal.
So basically, you would pay $5,000 for your team to win the championship. Essentially, that's what we're talking about.
And hypothetical, we cannot decline and then take out a loan and bet it on our team.
No betting. Yeah, this is no betting.
Well, fun fact: some of us have bet on their teams all summer long to win Super Bowl.
I thought he was about to say, fun fact, I did take out a loan and put it on the Jags.
Every time I get a good chunk from baseball, I'm like, what could I do with this extra money? Could I put it in my bank account? Sure. But could I put some of it on the Jags to win Super Bowl? Extra sure.
There's times where I'm like, should I go out to eat? Well, that $18 that I would spend going out to eat, I can bet that on a player prop
and lose
or
it.
something. And then
it's
I'm just
weird
like,
you don't say the Titans win the Super Bowl right there.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, thank you.
$10,000. $10,000. That's a lot of money.
I'll start taking it now. Yeah,
$10,000.
Realistically, you know what I can do with that? Yeah, it's a lot of money. There we go. From here on out, if you keep going up, it's going to be a yes for me.
Okay, tens.
Already sold out.
Nope. Legitimately, no.
What would Morgan say to this? Your wife.
She's not in the room.
How early would Morgan go? Take the money.
She'd probably take it at 10.
10?
That's where
she would give up $5,000.
Yeah.
For Jags. We got to get her on the pod to confirm this.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, what's the amount
right now?
What amount would you take? There's a price. Don't give me
There is a price.
There's a price. I think at $500,000.
That is not your price. You're going to turn down $200K. $200K.
Yeah.
You could.
That's insane.
I would, right?
That is insane. No. That's it. We need to find somebody with a lot of money to actually offer this to him, even though they're not guaranteed, but we'll make it work. They fix all the games to where the Jags are guaranteed.
$10,000 is where that's my line.
10,000 was where I was at.
Because it's not like money you're paying, really. It's like free money.
Right.
So 10,000 is the amount. It's like, that's approaching like could change my current life enough to make it worth it.
But also, he never said that it was never going to happen. So you still have a realistic chance.
It's just your
normal, it's just your normal life.
Right.
It's not like he said, nope, it's either you get it or you don't.
Correct.
It's not.
Yeah. I still like $500,000.
That's insane.
Okay, here's the next one. This is a little trickier.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Would you guarantee a championship this season if it meant you had a guaranteed 5 consecutive losing seasons after the championship? So between 2025 and 2030, you had losing seasons for one championship in 2024.
I think where I struggle with that kind of question is I don't want to be the team that won a Super Bowl and then you're really bad the next 5 years and everybody's like, oh, it was a fluke.
Yep, fluke.
That is a good point.
I think it tarnishes your Super Bowl a little bit. Like,
I feel that way about the Giant Super Bowl a little bit.
I think I would, but they won 2 in such a short span, so I let them. I remember them as like a good team, but like a team that I remember doing that is like the Buccaneers with like Brad Johnson as their quarterback, and they scored 2 defensive touchdowns. It was like early 2000s, but like a team like that where it's like it was a fluke run, and so that's how they're remembered. I don't want to be remembered like that as our Super Bowl win. So I would have a hard time taking that deal.
I'm going to say no, just because we would have losing seasons while we were in the new stadium. So if there's a chance that we could be better than that, the fluke thing is also, but for the Titans specifically, we would be garbage. I don't know if it's a losing season. Is it just literally having a losing record? Like we could be 7 and
yes,
7-11 is losing record, right? Or 7-10.
Yeah, so that's not bad. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Like if you said worst team in the, I'm starting to think maybe I would take it because a losing record isn't the worst. Now, if you came to me and said the worst record, and which this might have been, I might have sniped him on this one.
No.
But if he was going to say the worst record in the NFL for the next 5 years, I'd probably decline that. But if he's saying losing record, I mean, that could be like any of our teams for the next 5 seasons. We don't know that.
True.
As someone who lived 2 years in a row with the worst record in the NFL and did not get a Super Bowl beforehand, I can tell you it's not a fun time.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Titans were there at one point. They weren't the worst. They had the year right before we drafted Vince Young. We were very, very bad.
Top 3.
Yeah, it was.
Mariota was 2nd.
Yeah, that was a very bad season. Okay,
not fun stretches.
I've got and this is a good one. Would you eat dog poop from a red Solo cup with a spoon and record it?
That guy deleted his Twitter.
Deleted everything.
Nobody can find him.
So shout out to 321 Knowles, wherever you're at. I'm sure you're listening to this. If you missed it, this guy on Twitter guaranteed he would eat dog poop from a red Solo cup with a spoon and record it if Florida State lost to Boston College. And guess what?
Punishment
they did
brought
lose.
on himself.
Yeah. Who would do
such a thing?
So he then deleted Twitter and Instagram and his entire footprint from the internet. So would you, in all seriousness, eat dog poop from a Solo cup with a spoon and record it for your team to win the championship?
Why is this even a question? I could barely do the burger blended up in a smoothie.
Mason, would you eat an entire bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos?
Has a weak stomach. Huh?
Would you eat an entire bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos?
Yeah, probably. I can just throw that up. It's fine. But it probably tastes good.
I can't do anything that's like repulsive.
You would give up $200,000, but you wouldn't eat dog poop?
Yeah.
That's a wild take.
That's a wild take.
I start doing math on how many years would I have to work to make that much money, and then I can't not take it.
The most depressing is when you do that with NFL players when they do a sign-on bonus or they work for one season and you're like, it's going to take me X amount of years. It's going to take me 650.
I would do 100. I would do 100K. Sat here a little longer.
Dropped them down. There you go.
I'll drop
negotiation.
Because you're right. Well, you did make the point of it's not. I can't ever win another one. It's just I would guarantee one that year. Yep. Thank you. So there you go. You talked me down from half a
still
mil
hope.
to 100K.
Yeah. There you go.
My thing is, I think I would probably eating the dog poop would seems better than giving up $50,000.
I just don't know how I could do it. I don't know if I could even physically do it.
It would really be horrible.
Yes,
like 100%. It would be truly just a miserable.
Is it just one bite? Scenario. Is it just one bite?
I don't know.
It's one bite. I could talk myself into it. I would.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know, Zach. I don't know how much more you had left, but
that was it. That was last one.
Okay, this is a serious conversation. If you were guaranteed one, do you still feel like it's like it was earned? Like if somebody said you get is it still going to be as sweet? You were like, well, I basically took $100,000 for this. Like, I don't know. Is that really going to be? And it was guaranteed. Like it was fixed. They didn't like actually earn it. Does that make sense?
It's something to consider for sure.
I think that's so. That's why I was still like, is like the hope of it and the feeling of like this is actually possible and not. I think it would take away from it big time if you're just like a genie in a bottle made this happen.
Well, it was literally opening week like it is this week, and you're just like, well, I know the ending of this story. It's like I skipped to the ending of the book, and you already spoiled it for yourself. That's where I'm at.
True. Yeah.
Okay. Good work, everybody. That was good, Zach. Right.
Okay. Do we want to tackle some college stuff next here?
Let's do it.
You ready?
Born ready.
Tins, are you locked in?
So locked in.
Tins has been locked in college.
I am locked into college, but I want to just say this, is that the NFL, I'm married to the NFL. I love the NFL.
Mm.
The college, I like college. You know, college is the work wife. College is, the girl you're flirting with. But not, my day one is the NFL.
What a wild take. Yeah.
I just want to make that clear.
I know this is true. I know you toe the line between both. Me and Mason both are kind of one trick ponies over here. NFL is much harder for me. I follow it, but not nearly as much as college. I think Mason's the same way, but with NFL. So you're just one that's kind of in. You do a good job of following everything.
If we got kind of latch on the teams is my thing with college. I do kind of just latch around. I pick like 5 teams. And I'm like, all right, these are the teams I'm really going to dive into this year. Last year I picked some really bad ones like Texas Tech, but that's beside the point.
That's true. I was just going to point out that since we all get paid to do this podcast, Tinsley gets paid double because he talks literally through the whole podcast because he kind of has to, because he's like, oh, okay, I got done talking with Zach for 20 minutes on college. Now I got to talk with Mason 20 minutes on NFL. So it's like one of those things where he's talking the whole time. He gets paid double than we do. So I just want to tell everybody
I love talking ball. I get in trouble at UPS. Sometimes my cars will get backed up with like packages I'm supposed to be loading because I'm just up the belt talking to the boys about ball. I'm like, oh, I should be loading these boxes right now, but I really need y'all to hear my opinion about this game that happened.
You gotta get the takes off.
I gotta get the takes off.
True.
I'm podcasting without a mic on a daily basis.
You're just getting reps in.
That's right.
When you get the mic in front of you, you're ready to get it off. Okay. So we got some big games this weekend. There are less big marquee matchups, but there are a couple of them. I say, let's get this one out of the way first. Big matchup involving a team that we're all pretty familiar with. That would be Tennessee, NC State. Huge matchup for Tennessee. This is at a neutral site in Charlotte at the Carolina Panthers Stadium. NC State looked pretty sluggish last week. Did not look great in their first outing of the year. Tennessee, on the other hand, impressed a lot of people with their offensive prowess, despite them only playing Chattanooga. Nico Iamaleava looked really good, really clean in his first half performance where they were up very much at halftime. And so he didn't even play the second half. So it's kind of a tale of two starts here to see where we're going to be. Tennessee is now an 8-point favorite. They started off as a 4-point favorite. So the line has moved pretty significantly after week 1. Tins, how we feel about this game?
Yeah, I tend to want to lean with the team that offense looked better. I think defense is normally ahead of the offense when it comes to like gelling and being ahead of offenses where they've practiced together more and they can do a little bit more in the beginning of the season. But for Tennessee's offense to come out and look as sharp as they did, I mean, I know we played Chattanooga, but that's what you wanted to see out of them coming out and playing Chattanooga. They, to me, look like one of the better offenses in the whole country. And going back to what you talked about earlier when we were texting, is we really started to look like how Hendon Hooker was operating the offense, and very smooth, very fast paced, and that's what I want to see. And I just don't think NC State, they had a lot of hype coming into the year. They're getting a lot of credit for this defense that was very good last year, but I kind of did a deep dive into it, and they lost a lot of guys to the draft and the transfer portal. So I think they're kind of getting built up off of a name and a reputation that they've had the last couple of years that maybe is not holding true to this season.
Yeah, sure. And Grayson McCall, quarterback for NC State, it just didn't look super sharp. In their first game of the season either. I do think Tennessee in 2022 had the fastest offense in the country and one of the highest scoring offenses in the country, despite a pretty tough schedule. I think they're looking for a return to form. Heupel has made some comments like the entire playbook is open to Nico, which kind of makes you think that it was at one point not open to some former quarterbacks who are now on an NFL roster. So we're not shooting any shots at Joe Milton, but it seems like they limited the playbook some. Nico made some really good long throws. Running game looked really solid as well. Dylan Sampson, I think, is going to be a very, very good running back this season. Tennessee kind of quietly is one of the better run teams in the country. Last year, their numbers were actually very high. We've leaned on the run game pretty heavy. And so I think if you can get the run game going and you have a quarterback who can really control an offense and you have wide receivers who are looking very, very sharp so far. Dante Thornton had returned from some injury and things like that, looking very good. Brew McCoy also returned from injury. You have Squirrel White out there, Chris Brazel, really a wide receiver room that could compete for one of the best in the country this year as well. Defensively is the question. I think if they play a super high-powered offense, that's going to be a question mark, and it could turn into a shootout like some of the games did in 2022. I think the secondary still is the big question mark of the team, but I think it's enough to beat a team with what seems like a pretty mediocre quarterback in NC State. Tense, how do you feel about that line at -8?
It's ballooned. We're double to where we were originally.
I wish I had taken it.
Yeah, gambling wise, I'm probably not touching the -8. Not that I'm not confident in UT. It's just a pretty big number, and it's gone through the key number of 3 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something I'd probably stay away from. I do want to touch on. I know our defense didn't really get tested against Chattanooga, but I think the difference that UT has this year than they've had in years past is this defensive line is awesome.
Correct.
And you've got a top 5 pick at defensive end who can put pressure on the quarterback enough to kind of cover up maybe some of the blemishes that the secondary has, because it's a brand new secondary, a lot of young guys. So I do think that's where we are a little bit different and can truly hang in the SEC without having a top tier defense, because you do just have such a special player over there.
Yeah, I think defensive line across the board is really good. James Pierce is the key there. At the defensive end spot, he is projected to have a very, very good season. I will say he only played 10 snaps for Chattanooga total. Chattanooga also, it seemed were very intentional about not getting their quarterback injured. They ran the ball a good bit, got rid of the ball quickly. They were just trying to keep his quarterback alive for the rest of their FCS season. So he is fresh though, coming out of week 1 now. I think he's going to be ready to be released into the wild.
And this will be a good test for the defense too, because I know NC State didn't look great, but they have a good offensive line and a older quarterback. I don't know. I don't want to throw a word like good around, because I think he's just kind of mid, but he's played a lot of college ball. So he could take advantage of a bad secondary. So we'll see how our defensive line stacks up.
Transferred in from Coastal Carolina. He's a graduate student, so
he was
he's a
there.
little older.
He was at Coastal for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, we can move on here to what is maybe the matchup everyone in the nation is circling. That would be Texas, number 4 Texas versus number 9 Michigan. Big time matchup in Ann Arbor in the big house. I think that is a pretty key point to this one. The line is sitting at 7 points in Texas's favor. Texas at -7. I think Michigan had a not a super sleek start to their season, but it was also against a team that wasn't necessarily very good. Texas looked pretty dominant in their first game of the season, but against an opponent that was just pretty lower tier. So, Tens -7. How do you feel about this matchup?
I don't love that -7. I'm not big on Texas going into the year. I know they have a very good offensive line. I'm very questionable about their skill set players. They lost 2 running backs in the summer training camp, and then we know I'm not big on Brock Ewers. But Michigan, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. That's how much I don't like him. Is I don't know his name. Uh, Michigan, though, is doing this weird thing where they have a walk-on quarterback who I guess has taken the job, even though they had packages for Obi or Obi. I don't know his name. OBG or JI something. He was the backup last year. He would come in for some Wildcat stuff. Everybody thought he'd be the starter. It looks like he lost the job to this no name guy. And then Edwards, the running back, who's supposedly supposed to be like the big Heisman candidate, rushed for 30 yards last week against I don't even know who. So this is not a hardball Michigan team. It's just not. They're talented enough on defense that they probably have 2 top 10 guys over there at corner and defensive end.
Yep.
But outside of that, this team just doesn't scare me at all.
I think it's a weird matchup. I do think it's tricky to predict because I think Michigan's defense is very good. I think Texas's offense can be good. I think Texas is a good team on paper. I think there's a question mark of some of the same questions that Florida State. I don't know. There's become a conversation this week around transfer players versus players who have kind of come up in your system, and I think it's become a wider conversation of are they really the same? Like, can you weigh them? I don't know. It's almost like the Dabo Sweeney mindset versus like the Deion Sanders mindset, and then everything in between is there something to getting a player as a freshman and being able to develop them? Is that worth more than pulling in a star from another team to fill a slot on your roster? And Florida State has went the transfer route more so, and it worked out for them last year. And this year, I think we're seeing that on paper, the team looks good, but they're just not working very well together. And the team just didn't work out as well. Like the same thing as Texas A&M, right? Texas A&M can pay for a really nice little roster using transfer portal and stuff. And they also get good recruiting classes, but if it doesn't work on the field, then it's, it is what it is. Texas is kind of the same in my book. It's like we have a good team. We lost some pieces from last year. I think they're Tens. I don't know. You can confirm this or deny that their offensive and defensive lines are really good. Texas, right?
I wouldn't say their defensive line is as good as it was last year. Last year they had Sweat, who the Titans got in the second round, and then Murphy, who went in the first round to the Seahawks. So you lose 2 first, top 40 players to the NFL. Outside of that, I'm not very familiar with their defensive line. I know their offensive line is great. These guys were big recruits when Stark first got there, and he's coached them up, and they've got, I think their left and right tackle are both going to be first round picks. So I know their offensive line is great. I don't know much about their defense. I do know they lost those 2 guys.
They obviously lost Xavier Worthy as well.
And A.D. Mitchell.
True. Yeah, some big time names. I think the other big question mark for Texas, and what an interesting conversation this year around that program, is the quarterback situation. Obviously, Quinn Ewers is a Heisman candidate quarterback. potentially, I think he has the potential to be in that conversation. And this, in a big game this week, would definitely put him in the conversation for this year.
Yeah.
But then you have Arch Manning sitting as your backup, who the fans want to see more. It's such a weird dynamic in their quarterback room right now.
It's like Texas fans want them to win and succeed, but they also at the same time wouldn't mind seeing Ewers struggle a little bit, just enough for them to say, "Oh, it's Manning time."
It's almost,
you know what I mean?
It's almost like, and this is an insane thing to say, but what would happen in the third quarter if Ewers just thrown 2 interceptions, has looked pretty bad, and Texas is down by 10 points in the third quarter? How tempting would it be to, like, how much are the fans going to want you to stick Manning in and just see what happens?
I said it when we were talking about Texas. I saw that 4-game stretch where they could put Arch in, where it's like Vandy, Florida is after the Georgia game. But part of that prediction was Texas losing to Michigan, and I don't see nothing Michigan did week 1 shows me that they could do that this week. Now they could come out and ground and pound, and Edwards maybe they were just they can Michigan it up, and Edwards maybe they saved him last week to unleash him on Texas, and that could happen.
Sure.
And then maybe that's where the snowball gets rolling for Arch to finally take over. But I just don't know. I don't see it anymore because Michigan just didn't impress me, and it's just not the same. It's not the same as Harbaugh. I mean, he built it, but it's just all the main guys left, all the main coaches, all the big recruits.
Connor Stallions.
Yeah.
He's out. Yeah, I think it's tough. I think it's a tough situation for Michigan. I think Texas wins this game. I think it could be an ugly game, though. I think there's a potential for it to be gross.
Like 10-3.
I think there's also potential for Texas to win big.
You think? Oh, okay. So you think ugly, like Texas could just blow them out,
or it's like 17-13 or something. I think that's the other reality. I don't think Michigan wins, but I don't think they've got the pieces of the puzzle there to compete and really like crush them. I think if they win, it's going to be really ugly, like low scoring. Yeah,
I agree with that. But it's definitely a game I'm not betting in any way because it's just
I want to bet it, but it's gross. Yeah,
I don't know how to feel about either one of these teams. I think this game will help me kind of figure out where I stand on them.
Yeah,
because I've just had big question marks about Michigan all summer, and then Texas too. I've just been I've been down on them, and just because I feel like I'm waiting for the shoe to drop where they're like, okay, it's Arch time.
It is such a tough. No other team has this situation where, like, most teams would kill to have Quinn Ewers as their starting quarterback.
Right.
Such a weird dynamic there. I don't know what it's going to be like. Tennessee is going to end up in the same situation in a couple of years because they've got like multiple 5-stars lined up where you make a couple mistakes and people are going to be starting to shout for the next guy. That's what happened all last season with Nico sitting on the bench behind Joe Milton. So I don't know. Okay, moving on. We can hit these last two pretty quick because they're not as big, but I think there's some interesting dynamics here. Next is Oregon, Boise State. Oregon, a very slow start to the season against Idaho. Truly looked like they were just in quicksand through that game. Idaho just pulled out trick play after trick play and tried to shock the world. Oregon got the win, but it did not look pretty in any way. Boise State similarly had a tough week 1 matchup. We talked about it in our recap. They had a very tight game. A team that has a lot of playoff aspirations and things attached to them right now. So this is a pretty big game for both teams. I don't know what happens if Boise State loses this and then runs the table the rest of the season. I think that would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Oregon definitely cannot lose this game though if they want to continue their quest for a playoff spot. So Tins, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, this is a game I threw in because I think it's going to be the most entertaining game of the weekend. I think this has the highest potential of fireworks. I went back and watched some highlights and broke down some stats from that Oregon game. Oregon didn't have a problem moving the ball up and down the field. They had a lot of red zone struggles, turnovers down there with some strip sacks and some silly stuff happened. A couple like a missed field goal. So they put up tons of yards. They just weren't able to finish the job. This Boise State team, I think, is electric with Austin. I'm going to butcher his name. I'm pretty sure it's Austin Janikins is how you say his name. Running back. He scored the 6 touchdowns last week, ran for 260 yards.
That's a lot of touchdowns.
He's a secret weapon for Boise State. And Boise State's always been one of the better teams out there in the Mountain West Conference. And they're not shy. They're not scared of big Power 5 conference teams. Like they beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl a long time ago, but this is a program that's not scared of playing against big teams. So this game I think is going to be a lot of fun. I think we'll see Oregon kind of shake off that rust from last week and finish some red zone stuff and score some points.
20
but I think Boise
20-point
will.
spread.
Yeah.
You think they cover that?
I don't know. I think Boise can score. That's the thing. They're going to be able to run the ball. I don't think Oregon is great defensively. So I do think Boise will be able to score with them. I don't know. I'm staying away from the spread. I'll have something on the over maybe later.
Teaser.
It's a little tease. We'll
call
the business
so
a tease.
Our last big game on the docket, and there's a lot of other games, a lot of ranked games. There's a couple of there's actually 3 system games. We'll go over those in a second. But our last kind of big game is Nebraska, Colorado at Nebraska. The line here is 7.5 points. Over under is a 59. That's kind of low, I feel like. Colorado won their season opener against North Dakota State. They looked anything but good. They did not look good. Travis Hunter looked good. The rest of the team,
not so much.
Defense was horrible. I mean, North Dakota State was kind of just, they were scoring right with them. It was pretty gross to watch. Nebraska is kind of a new look Nebraska team. Dylan Raiola has looked very good so far as well. So Nebraska's favored by 7.5 here at Nebraska, and probably what will be a very tough environment. Those Nebraska fans haven't had a ton to cheer about in a while, but I have a feeling that they're going to be getting a little rowdy this year. Tins, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm on Nebraska. I think Dylan Raiola is awesome. I think there's some juice being pumped into the Nebraska fan base right now, and they're buying into the hype, and I think they should. I think Matt Rule has shown everywhere he's gone in college. Everyone, please hear what I'm saying. In college, I know what happened at the Panthers. We were there for the end of it.
Same thing for him to get fired.
Everywhere he's gone in college, he has turned a program around within his second year. It's like night and day difference. And Nebraska has always been a school that gets good recruits. They're going to play good defense. And he has got some skill position guys and a quarterback to, I think, make some waves. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy, but I do think they handle Colorado, who I think is just Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. Everyone else outside of that is just a transfer zombie.
Yeah, there's some wide receiver talent. I mean, they are good offensively. They're going to score points. The problem is that we've seen what happens in college football with these offensive teams. Like, well, Colorado was that last season for the most part, but also like USC last year, LSU last year, is you can't be a dominant playoff caliber team if you are not at least somewhat balanced. And they're not. They're not balanced. You can't. It doesn't matter what Travis Hunter can do. He's only one player, and the rest of your team just has to do anything. So I'm also on Nebraska there. We can go ahead and transition here into our best bets if we want to, before we move on to the dip. Oh, sorry.
Did we want to? Oh, did we? I thought we were going to do betting at the end.
We're going to do all betting at the end? That's great. We can.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get there, sorry.
You're good.
There are 3 system plays this week. Let me go ahead and just list them off for you. I will say again that the system this year is where you have a ranked team going to play at a stadium of an unranked team, where the unranked team is the underdog. Last year we saw that a lot of these unranked teams would come ready to play. The fans would come ready to fight. And so we have 3 of those situations coming up on Saturday. First one, Kansas, number 19 Kansas at Illinois. That's a 5.5 point underdog there for Illinois. The next one is, I'm scrolling. Okay, next one is Georgia Tech at Syracuse. That's only a 2.5 point underdog for Syracuse there. So that's a classic play for us. And then lastly, we have Tulane. Kansas State is coming to Tulane. So number 17, Kansas State at Tulane. They are 9 point underdogs.
Tulane's feisty.
Yeah, I mean those 3 are all legitimate plays with single digit spreads, but they're all 3 underdogs. So I really like all 3 of those system plays. We're believing that some home environments are going to cause some chaos. We didn't have a lot of upsets in week 1, but I feel like we're going to have some more in week 2. So that is college for you, folks.
The system is due for a bounce back.
It needs it. It needs it.
Mason, you had your hand up.
I was just saying you're correct.
Oh, okay.
Systems do.
All right. All right. So before we move on to NFL, I've got a little blind ranking here for the boys.
Love it.
If you're new around here, we talk about food a lot, and that's not going to change today.
Nope.
So I'm going to do a blind. I've got my list over here. We got 6 different dips. It being the first week that we get full football from morning to night. I feel like dips with chips is the most football food that there is.
Dip.
So I got 6 of them here for you boys. I'm going to need y'all to blind rank them.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I was born for this.
I'm ready.
All right. Let's start out hot here. Let's start out with guacamole.
I'm not a guacamole guy, to be 100%.
Really? I love guacamole.
Nah, it's fine. Not really. I just don't like it that much. I don't know.
Should we put it where you want to put it, Zach?
Are you a big guacamole fan, Mason?
I'm in the middle. We got to think. We gotta. Should we throw out some, or do we not want to tease like what he's guessing? I got like 3 or 4 in mind. That's like top 3.
Are there bad dips?
I was looking at some lists today. There were some bad ones out there.
Well, I'm wondering if like French onion, that's like something you buy in a plastic tub. That could be a bad dip for some people. You like that? Okay. Well, let's for time purposes, let's pick a spot.
Okay.
How many spots we got?
I would feel if you like it, if it were just me, I would make it 6. But for you, we can move it up to 4 or 5, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there.
Let's do 5 just because I'm really worried. Let's save a bad dip, but I'm really worried there's going to be some fire dips on here. So let's go 5.
I like that.
All right. Let's go sour cream and onion.
There's the one.
Do you like sour cream and onion?
It's okay. That was the one I was wondering if that's a bad dip or not.
I mean, I like eating it with some ruffled chips, you know?
That's like the lazy dip.
It's Macy's favorite snack.
Wow. How do you feel about it?
Morgan's dad is like, that's his favorite thing. And I personally am not a big fan of that.
Here's my issue. If we go 4, then we literally have 3 spots for that top 3. If we go 6, but then what if there's something really horrible?
Yeah, I think you have to save the 6th spot.
You gotta save the top 3 as well. Is that a top 3 dip?
Zach? You can make it 4.
Let's do 4. Okay.
All right, number 4.
I like it.
All right, let's get a heavy hitter here. Queso.
Yep.
White cheese queso.
That is anytime I go to a Mexican restaurant, I'm getting that. I'm getting the large as well. I don't care that it's $10, $12.
He doesn't care.
I don't care.
Well, you are
I would feel comfortable with that at 1. I feel good about that.
So here's I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. Buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
If he throws that out, that is my number 1. He could also not. He could be playing mind games and not even throw that out. But that would be my save that spot. And Rotel dip. What are we doing
That's
here?
similar to queso. There's not that.
Yeah. Some
similar.
people would fight you on those words.
That's fine.
What do you think? 2 or 1, Zach?
Just melted cheese. I would put it at 1 because it's safe and it looks good. You're not going to get embarrassed with queso at 1.
You're not going to have people freaking out like, what? Let's lock it in. I like it. That's a comfortable, good, solid 1. Nobody's going to turn down queso.
True.
Okay, go ahead.
Spinach dip.
It depends on how it's made.
See, that one's fine for me. I like spinach dip.
Yeah, it depends on how it's made.
I think I'd be comfortable at 3. I think
then we'll have 2 and 6.
There might be a safer option as putting it at 6 and just sacrificing it at the back end, and then you've got 2 and 3. Even if they're bad, it doesn't matter. So I think it's 3 or 6. It depends on if you feel like Tinsley threw in a really bad one or not.
He just said there are some really bad dips, and then proceeded not to really say a bad dip. I would say let's do it. Let's put it at the 3, and then we got 2 and 6.
3 is fine. Yeah.
Right, spinach dip at number 3. All right. Rotel.
See, I see what he did here. Rotel's got to go 6 because I'm expecting the buffalo chicken dip. There's no way he doesn't have buffalo chicken dip on this list.
I think he's got you. I think he's not going to put it on a list. That's my prediction.
Well, what do you want to do here, Zach? Because we got queso, so Rotel could be thrown at the end. My number one fear in all of this is that we constantly get people on social media being like, I saw your list and it's garbage. Not understanding that's a blind ranking.
Rotel could go at 6, and that would be fine. That's probably the safer option.
Okay, let's do it.
6.
Okay, 6.
All right.
Watch them have like cream corn pudding or something.
That's fine.
Caramel dip.
I'd eat that.
Yeah, I'm not mad.
What do you dip it in?
Like apples? A good dessert dip at the end. Yeah.
Cookies, Oreos.
Dip some caramel in it.
Pretzels. I've done pretzels with it. It's good. All right, I'll take it. Hey, I don't hate it.
Chicken tenders.
Like, chaotic one.
Yeah. Chicken tenders and a caramel dip.
I think I could have safely put that at 6 as well. I think that's fine. It could have been worse.
Yeah, definitely could have been worse. I didn't want to put anything crazy bad on there, but I also didn't want to do buffalo chicken dip because that's the obvious. That's the one of dips.
Okay,
see, I knew you
that's my number. Well, that's my one as well.
Bit. I had to get people looking at the list and be like, "Whoa, wait a second! They don't even have buffalo chicken dip."
Yeah, that's the issue with the
Let's
blind
burn these guys to the ground.
People that don't listen and they're like
salsa on the list. Salsa, maybe 1.
I didn't want to do chips I didn't want to do salsa and guac.
Those are very different things. Salsa is elite.
They're always together.
Wrong.
Not on Zach's plate.
Not on Zach's plate, obviously.
Guacamole's too green for me. Sorry.
It's true. He gets out like the color palette thing when you're picking out a color for a bedroom. And if it's like close to the green, he's like, nope, don't eat it.
Not for me.
True. I'm more of a tan person. Brown. Tan.
Likes all his food to be beige.
Correct.
Or red.
That's a fact.
I'm not far behind. I can't. I'm not judging you too hard over here.
Okay.
Good work, everybody.
Great work.
Thank you. All right, let's dive into the NFL. It is here. It is back. We are going to have football from tomorrow night till Monday night with college and NFL. But NFL is diving into let's see how much we can dominate TV time because we've got a Thursday night game, we've got a Friday night game, and then our normal Sunday night and Monday. So pretty wild that they're doing a Friday night game. And then I'm hearing that they're testing out the idea of starting on Labor Day weekend, which I think would be crazy awesome. But
I'm here for it.
Be cutting into some of the alone time that college football gets for TV ratings.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of TVs to go around. There's plenty of couch time I can give to football.
Not wrong. This is where I thrive. I have stats upon stats. I'm ready to go, Tins. You guys ready? Can I kick us off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get it.
All right. So this is for both of you. These are true or false questions. These are based on your opinions. So both of you ready for some true or false?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The NFL record for most kickoff return touchdowns in a season is 25, set in 2007. Devin Hester, who played for the Bears, had 6 of those returned for a touchdown in 2007. True or false? With the new kickoff rules this season, the record will be broken.
False. Was that when did Pac-Man Jones play? Was he earlier than that?
He was around that time, I believe.
He was a menace as well. He contributed a couple of those.
Yeah. I think that nobody's going to be able to figure it out. I think it's going to be a little weird for some defenses. I feel like some of them are just going to boom it in the back, but I think we're going to have some special teams trying to figure it out, and they're going to slip, and we're going to have a couple returns. I want Tens to and then answer his, and then I have a little throw out there for you. So go ahead, Tens.
Yeah, I'm going with true. I just know how much the Jags have invested in kick returners this offseason as far as it's something that matters to our team. And if we're doing that, I think other teams are doing it as well. So yeah, I think we'll see that record get broken.
So if you're not aware, just go look up literally type in new kickoff rule. There's a really good explanation. We don't have time for it, but I like Cordell Patterson on the Steelers to be the kickoff return touchdown leader this year. He had 9 touchdown returns in his career. And in a recent interview, Mike Tomlin said the first thing that when they heard about the rule change was they went and assigned him immediately. So I could see them literally focusing on him and possibly I looked Steelers defense or special teams anytime touchdown week 1 against the Falcons is up plus 500. I like that bet. Okay, next one. Daniel Jones struggled last season and during this preseason as well, throwing 2 picks in the first game. True or false? Daniel Jones will get benched for Drew Lock during the NFL season due to bad quarterback play, not injuries, bad quarterback play. Do we believe in Daniel Jones? Yes or no?
No, he will get benched, I think.
True. Zach?
True. Yeah.
Agree. Daniel Jones will not make it to the season.
I think Dayball is fighting for his job. He'll bench him and be like, look, I couldn't win with this guy. Let me show you what I can do with a real quarterback. Because he inherited Daniel Jones. Like when he took the job, Daniel Jones was already there. I was surprised they decided to re-sign him. I know they tried really hard to trade up for Drake May. So
yeah,
I do see them as a quarterback team this next draft. And I think if Dayball wants to keep his job, he'll have to bench Daniel Jones eventually.
All right. 2 more here. Hope the listeners are playing along as well. The NFL has never had a team win with a 3-peat, 3 consecutive Super Bowls, making the modern day exclusive. It's never happened before. According to DraftKings, the Chiefs are the favorite to win the Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes is the favorite to win MVP. True or false? The Chiefs will win a Super Bowl this year. If it's false, what team will win the Super Bowl?
True. For my dynasty mode, I'm all in on the Chiefs, baby.
A 3-peat. All right.
That was the
First
only
time
reason
ever in history.
At this point in time, you just have to think of, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes is kind of inevitable. And so I think if you have him on your team, you've got a good shot at winning any game in the playoffs. Like will he always do that? No, but I think in the same way that we've looked at Tom Brady or we've looked at some of those guys in the past, that Patrick Mahomes has the ability to take any game over and to win it just on his shoulders. So I think because of a player like that, you have to give him the upper hand.
Tens.
Zach is not wrong, even 1%, but I'm going to go with false. It's never happened. I think the games have started to add up. If you think about all the extra games they've played, the wear and tear, the injury luck they've had the last 2 years, something's got to give there, you would assume. And they've got some big question marks at left tackle. They are starting a rookie, I think 2nd or 3rd round pick at left tackle, and they're starting right tackle. Juwan Taylor got hurt in training camp. So those are like 2 question marks. But I mean, at the same time, would I be surprised if we're sitting here and the Chiefs have 3-peated? No, absolutely not. But I do think that they'll have a slip up and they won't do it.
There you go.
But it's like 51%. It's like a 51% shot. So only 49% the other way.
Did you say who was going to win if it was false?
No, I didn't. I didn't say.
You don't want to answer that question?
Do you have any features with Chiefs Super Bowl on
them? No, not yet. I normally wait until December for those, and then I throw them in with UConn, and it's worked pretty well. I just got to stop throwing those hockey teams in there.
That's true. They get you every time.
All right, last one. True or false? Aaron Rodgers is going to take the Jets to the playoffs this year. Rodgers is a favorite to be comeback player of the year and is slated to have a bounce back season after the 4-time NFL MVP only played 3 official snaps in 2023. The Jets are the odds-on favorite to win the division for the AFC East. Go ahead, Tins. You shook your head.
No. They're not going to win their division. I think the Bills are going to win that division. The Dolphins probably come in second. I hear
Jets,
about is
no playoffs.
The Jets. Yeah, no playoffs. The Jets are constantly talked about how they have this elite defense where they let their best pass rusher go in free agency and went and traded for Haason Reddick, who is not going to show up. He has not shown up yet. He has said that he will miss games until he gets a new contract. So I don't want to hear about elite defense just because you have Sauce Gardner. A corner can only take you so far. That's just where I'm at with it. You've got a 40-something-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear whose offensive line in front of him is mediocre at best with very old offensive linemen who have not shown they can finish a season healthy in the last 3 to 4 years. And with one good wide receiver and one good running back. This is not an elite team. This is not a top 5 team in the AFC.
I think the question is also like, what are the odds that Aaron Rodgers actually finishes the regular season healthy?
Right.
So I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. I think for even have the chance of playoff contention, he has to finish the regular season first and not get injured or stay healthy. And I think the odds of that are not great. And so because of the odds of that are not great, I think it's also a no for me. I think the NFL could be fun if they do make it to playoffs, like in a wild card spot. Like I think that would be kind of fun to see Aaron Rodgers back in the playoffs. I think that would be a good storyline. I don't know that it will happen though.
Yeah, I just think the AFC is too loaded from top to bottom.
All right, there you go. Those were my true or false questions.
There's only 7 spots.
True,
He's not wrong about that.
Jags and Titans already have 2 of them, so getting crowded.
It's getting really crowded up there at the top, boys. Looks like Joe Burrow or Lamar, one of them sitting at home.
Sorry about it, Burrow.
Okay, so I know with NFL, it's week 1. We're not going to – I think it's a little bit different. Me and Mason were talking about earlier. It's a little bit different because I think the NFL sets up for more storylines and there's more things to follow with that than instead of us breaking down each game. Like obviously the NFL does a good job of putting their primetime games in those primetime spots. I think there's a reason it's Chiefs-Ravens tomorrow or Thursday night. Monday Night Football being – I don't even remember. The Rams-Lions being Sunday night.
Monday night is the Jets and the 49ers.
That's right. So they do a good job.
They do a good job until Aaron Rodgers gets injured 3 plays in, and then the Jets are in prime time for the whole season.
That's not wrong. True. We do always get at least it's 2 years in a row we've gotten like prime time like slots throughout the whole season for a team that didn't belong, like the Broncos with Russell his first year when they were terrible, last year with the Jets. So somebody look at who's got a bunch of primetime games this year and then go ahead and fade them now because something's going to happen to them. That's my conspiracy theorist. But so instead of us going through and kind of talking about each game individually, I think there's some headlines and some things that we're looking for going into week 1, things we're watching out for to kind of see where the season's headed. So Mason, what's one thing you're kind of pinpointing for week 1?
Okay, so the storyline's got to be Caleb Williams. The guys actually talked about this earlier today on a certain stat and whether you should be all in on the Titans or not, because quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall are 0-14-1 in their first start since 2002. We're talking about Caleb Williams.
Tough.
The second part to this, Caleb Williams is 40-1 odds to win the MVP this year, which would be the shortest odds entering a season by any rookie in the last 15 years to win the award, ahead of Saquon Barkley, who was 66-1 in 2018. A little stat for you there. I got stats upon stats. Go ahead, Tins.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy, the hype around Caleb Williams. I mean, we've never seen a number one pick at quarterback be put into a position like Caleb has. Very good defense, great weapons around him, solid offensive line. Like, for the most part, when a quarterback gets picked first overall, he is getting drafted into a dumpster fire. So I think that's why there's so much optimism around this Bears team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Caleb will have to show it early. I don't think he can come out the gate and look like a rookie and have a lot of struggles like most rookies do. Like, I think he's going to have to hit the ground running, or else that that seat will get a little hot, because, I mean, it was a little bit questionable whether he should have been brought back anyway. But there's just not a lot of excuses. I think for the most part, when these guys get drafted, there's some built-in excuses. Like, there's a reason that team picked first overall. This was a very special situation in Chicago where it wasn't even their pick. It was the Panthers' pick that they got for making the worst, which I like Bryce Young. I think he's going to bounce back. That's one of my headlines. But it was a bad trade to go from where they were in the draft to get trade all the way up to get to Bryce Young. But
there you go.
They have to lay in the bed they lie, or made now.
Lay in the bed they lie.
I mess that saying up every time. I should just find a new saying.
Find a different one. What's one of your headlines going into week 1?
Yeah, mine is bounce back quarterbacks. I think there's a couple spots around the league where there's some guys looking to kind of bounce back, revive their careers. Bryce Young is the top of the list for me. This is a guy who people are already throwing the bust label on, someone people are wanting to give up on already. And I just want to say, let's maybe pump the brakes. Like I said, he was drafted to a very tough situation. I think they've done a lot to upgrade what he has around him. I love the head coaching hire, Canales from the Bucks. So I do look for Bryce Young to have a bounce back and show that he is that quarterback that he was at Alabama that made him worthy of the first overall draft pick. And then another quarterback, it's kind of weird saying this guy's kind of looking for a bounce back, is Matthew Stafford. I think people are trying to run Matthew Stafford out of the league after a little bit of injury history the last couple of years. I think he's still one of the top 8 quarterbacks in the league when healthy. This is maybe the best offensive line he's had since he played for the Rams, and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua give him 2 top-tier wide receivers. I think the Rams are going to have a very good year led by Matthew Stafford. I don't have the number in front of me, but a sprinkle on Matthew Stafford MVP might be worth a look. And then my final bounce-back quarterback is Kyler Murray. This is a guy who was electric coming out of college, had a very good rookie year, had an unfortunate ACL tear. He is now going to be 2 years fully recovered from the ACL, and I do think he is going to return the form. He came back towards the end of last year, and you started seeing, oh, that's Kyler when he's healthy. And they went and got Marvin Jones. Trey McBride is a very good tight end for him as well. So I really am excited to see what Kyler can do to turn around the Cardinals, because they were on a team on the rise when he was a rookie and in his second year before the ACL tear happened.
There you go. No, I know you're high on Kyler. I'm hoping he bounces back, because the injuries have just kept getting in the way. So I could see all 3 of those, to be honest, being bounce back instead of just dropping them like off the bat. So
I think there's a problem where if you're not Patrick Mahomes, everybody's like, well, just get rid of you. Just let's get a new quarterback. And I think you kind of have to build around these guys and set them up to succeed. I think Patrick fell into a perfect position where he's uber talented and such a good player, but he fell into a situation with a very good organization, an awesome head coach, Andy Reid, and just they built around him and elevated his talents.
Yeah.
And so I would like to see more teams do that instead of, well, it's been 2 years, let's just try the next thing. and just rinse and repeat, because that just doesn't work.
All right. My next headline here is, if you are thinking about betting on a team with like plus 5,000 odds or a Super Bowl sleeper pick, not so fast. 10 of the last 11 Super Bowl champions have been listed at plus 1,200 or shorter to win it all in the preseason. This year, this would be the Chiefs, Zach's three-peat, the 49ers, the Ravens, and the Lions would be 12-1 or shorter, with the Bills, Bengals, Texans, and Eagles just outside that zone as of now. So what do we think about that random little stat I threw out there?
I think I hate that stat, and I don't care about it.
Well, I said not to bet on a plus 5,000. Have you bet on a team that's, wait a minute, exactly plus 5,000 to win the Super Bowl?
Correctamundo.
I didn't pick that number on accident, buddy boy. If I had to say an outlier and I was like using my like betting brain and not, I would really like the Bengals. We've talked about it before, past in the pod, but they're going with the last place schedule because they came in last place because they had a lot of injuries last year, backup quarterbacks in there. So Jake Browning, right, was the yeah. So they had, so I think with their schedule being a little easier, with Joe Burrow coming back, if they can stay healthy, I could see that being the outlier team as of right now. You got any other little headlines for? Yeah, go ahead. If you had anything else to say about that, and then you can go into your headline.
No, this kind of goes off of what you're talking about. I think my one piece of advice, if you're someone who likes to bet futures, take these first 4 weeks to gather information. And this is more for like division winners and maybe in-season win totals. You're not going to get the whole picture in the first 4 weeks, but a lot of times the books will overreact to things that happen. A lot of times, like if you can look at some teams' schedules, they're very cake the first 4 games. Like a team like the Dolphins last year, who came out super hot, scored a ton of points. They scored 70 points on the Broncos, and they were everyone's September favorite to go to the Super Bowl and do this and do that. And then if you were to look at the second half of their schedule, you would have seen, oh, this is where they're going to run into some trouble historically, because it's the team that does not perform well in cold weather or on the road and things like that. So I like to take these first 4 weeks, kind of see what's going on, and buy low on teams. I've done it before, like with the Bengals a couple years ago. I put a lot of stock into, they had a very hard beginning of their season, but it kind of softened towards the end, and I got them at a really good price to win their division. I got it like plus 1,200 because at the time they were last, and then they end up winning the division, going to the Super Bowl and all that. But so I just like to just kind of watch around the league and see where you can get some good prices on stuff to maybe get those fun long shot division winners, because a team kind of comes out the gate a little bit slow, but maybe they have an easier end of the year schedule.
There you go. All right. Did you have any other headlines?
No, not for week 1.
Okay, and then we'll go into some betting stuff. I got one last one.
Other than the Jags are going to own Florida after week 1. What?
Who said that? Real quick, Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels will begin their NFL careers in week 1 playing on the road against veteran quarterbacks. Since the NFL merger in 1970, rookie quarterbacks having to play on the road in week 1 are 8-19 straight up and 12-13-2 against the spread, losing those games straight up by an average of 4.3 points per game. The rookie quarterback team averages about 18.8. So I haven't looked at like what their team totals are. The last win straight up or ATS came from Sam Darnold back in 2018. So can Bo Nix or Jaden Daniels break that streak? Who knows? Fun little fact for you.
That's I like that. I like that stat.
Okay. Now on to our bets, everybody, to close up the episode.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up with, we've got our best bets, and we've got the next guy up, parlay, which I don't know your guys' we haven't talked beforehand about the legs.
We've not talked about the leg. This is going to be interesting. Should we do the next guy up so
interesting.
Tinsley can build the parlay, and then we can talk about? Let's do that.
Okay, beautiful. Your internet did the thing where it kicked you off for a half a second.
Dang it. Okay, well, let's do the next guy up parlay, and Tins can build it, and then we'll do our best bets.
All right. I teased it earlier. I'm going to go with Oregon. I am going to take it down just a couple points just to give myself some cushion here. But I'm going to take it down to 58 points. That is minus 169. So over 58 points. This is going to be my leg. I think it's just going to be high scoring.
Okay, I've got mine here as well. I am also kind of teasing down a spread. We did not talk about this game earlier in our best games of the week, but I have got South Carolina, Kentucky. South Carolina and Shane Beamer did not look very good at all. Their situation across the board almost is just not very good. They struggled with Old Dominion. I've got Kentucky winning that one. I think Kentucky did look pretty good, and I feel pretty good about the team, actually. Brock Vandegrift looked great. I'm taking them at minus 6.5. Okay. So I teased it down enough to get that 7 point. It's at minus 175 there.
Beautiful.
All right. My game of choice, NFL, as always. Vikings at the Giants. The original line is Giants +2. I'm actually going to take Giants +3.5 to cover the field goal. Let me tell you what's been going on with the Vikings. So they lose J.J. McCarthy for the season. We lose a Tyree Jackson to a car crash. Horrible tragedy. The rookie cornerback for the Vikings as well. They have gone through some hardships for the offseason here. Also, real quick, they have not been good against the spread here recently of a late, and the Giants have been actually pretty decent. Vikings are 0-6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games versus an NFC East opponent. The Vikings are also 0-4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games played in September. And the Giants are 5-0-1 against their last 6 home games. They're at home. So give me the Giants we're going to tease it up to +3.5.
Okay. All right. So in order, it's going to go, and this will be, the order of who needs the win so we can get to the next leg. It's going to go Zach up first, Kentucky minus 6.5. Then I'm up for over 58 points in the Oregon Boise State game. And then Mason will finish us off on Sunday afternoon, Giants +3.5. That brings us to a +307.
I like that. That's a good number.
Love it.
Good number.
Good number. And then nice and almost round.
Are we ready for our best bets? Who wants to kick us off?
I can do best bet college. I mentioned it earlier, and so I'm going to go ahead and give it now. This is going to be Nebraska at minus 7.5 over Colorado. I really like Nebraska here. I think they just they outplay Colorado, outscore them. I think defense is much better, and I think Colorado's just not going to be very good. Big home environment for Nebraska as well. So there's my pick.
Beautiful. I'll go ahead and give mine. I put this in the Discord. There's actually 3 games that would cover or fall into this category, but since 2003, divisional underdogs in week 1 have hit at 60%. So you'd be looking at Raiders +3, Colts +2.5, and Panthers +4. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is with the Panthers, and I'm going to take Panthers +4, my best bet. I think the Panthers are improved. I don't see anything that tells me the Saints are a better team than they were last year, and I don't think they were very good. So I'm going to I get over the 3, which is a key number, so Panthers +4.
Love it. Okay. I have for my last. We also need to keep up with our records. I would like to start doing that as well for the whole football season. Zach's like, no, I'm good.
We can just start this week.
Super Bowl hangover is a thing. Since 2000, the loser of the Super Bowl has had a tough time getting over the hump in week 1 of the following season. Super Bowl losers are 10-14 straight up and 5-19 against the spread. Ooh, buddy. Also with the Jets, not to mention underdogs in week 1 Monday Night Football games are 29-12 and 1 against the spread since 1998. Therefore, if you had to guess where I'm going with this, and I was going to put this in the parlay, and I knew Tinsley was going to throw open his mouth, so I went with something else. But the Jets plus 4.5 on Monday Night Football. That is, see, he just did it just now. That is my best bet. Lock it in. All right,
love it. It's
a pod, everybody.
I hope your bet hits.
Thank you.
But I will not be riding.
No, that's okay.
I've got one more thing. My one of my coworkers recommended that we start nominating a next guy up of the weekend.
There you go.
So I'll do the first one here. Because we are the Next Guy Up podcast, we are going to be announcing who we feel like is going to have a breakout weekend. It's going to be the official Next Guy Up. So I think this is not going to be popular here. Personally, I think Quinn Ewers is going to ball out this weekend. I think he's going to put himself firmly in the Heisman conversation. Maybe close to, he could be top 5 if he throws 3 or 4 touchdowns here. I think Michigan is going to get beaten. I think it's going to be a statement for Quinn Ewers, and he's going to establish himself as the QB1. Okay. That's my take. Tins is disgusted.
I don't like that at all. All right, my nomination is Dylan Raiola. I think he's going to come out and dominate Colorado. And he's going to put himself on the map as a household name and someone to look out for. I don't know that he can get in the Heisman conversation just because he's a freshman and they're biased, but I think he is going to make a name for himself and embarrass Colorado at home in Nebraska.
Mason, do you have one?
My next guy up. So are these like no name? Like I wonder, because I'm picking like a star.
We make up the rules. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay, my next guy up is Austin Eckler for the Washington Commanders. The reason why is because rookie quarterbacks dump off to running backs like crazy. I'm betting his receiving props, his reception props. I think he's going to have a huge game rushing and receiving wise. They're going to try to get him involved as much as possible. There you go.
Washed up Austin Eckler. Also, I am looking forward to Monday's episode. This will be our first Josh Allen versus Josh Allen comparison. The Josh Allen of the week.
Josh Allen of the week. I'm very excited about this one. Will they both have played already by... What if they have a Monday night game?
No, the Bills, this week. The Bills, yeah, they don't this week.
It's going to happen eventually, though.
We play each other on Monday night.
That just means we'll have to do an extra pod just for that segment.
Josh Allen of the week announcement.
Just for the Josh Allen of the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Do your research, everybody. See if you agree with this. Josh Allen of the week coming up. Pretty excited.
Need to make sure everybody is locked in on the Josh Allen versus Josh Allen matchup. The defensive end versus the quarterback. Lots of similarities in how they affect the game.
This is going to be electric. Okay. Is that a pod, everybody?
It's a pod.
Great work. Okay. Well, that is it for us today. Be sure to be with us on the Discord. Things are kind of starting to get a little bit busy in there. We are posting a lot of betting stuff. We were active last weekend, just kind of reacting to games, things like that. We try to keep an active conversation going in there. So if you are a person who's stuck at home watching football by yourself all day on Saturday, Sunday, and you wish you were with the boys hanging out, be with us there because you can kind of be with us and watching it together. We are also on TikTok, Instagram. We are being very active on there as well. Check us out on Monday for our reaction to this week's games, as well as some other shenanigans on our Monday morning. And we hope you have a very exciting first official week of full football.